I do, I give for feedback, for instance, I'm doing a long-term projects mainly. So in each class, I give direct feedback, one-to-one feedback, individually, and I see how they can improve themselves. I wasn't doing that, but afterwards, after this education, I decided to form groups, and I will let them criticize their work and give feedback to each other.
Okay. So that's so peer feedback?
Yeah, peer feedback. I took notes and I give them, and I really realized that they don't read the notes.
Yes.
And I was, because of that experience, I was giving direct feedback one-to-one.
Yeah.
It works. And I had a question. When I was writing, I was trying to write my application. And there are certain things that I wasn't doing, but I decided to do them after the education. How should I write them?
That's a great example there. So you're really talking about the story and the narrative there. So you observed that you were spending a lot of time, and it's like we spoke about this morning, the madness. You were spending a lot of time writing detailed notes on students' projects, and they weren't reading them and they weren't acting on them. And so you then reflected on why this was not promoting action. And there could be a lot of reasons. Number one, they're getting it too late. Number two, students don't actually like reading negative feedback if it wasn't very constructive. So then you looked at an alternative approach, which was the sort of direct feedback and the peer feedback. So you can write that as a narrative. I observed this, wasn't working in my practice. I went on the course and they talked about using peer feedback or different types of feedback. I've tried this and this is the impact. Okay, so you get that full circle of an enhancing activity. Anybody else tried anything new in terms of a different type of feedback, assessing and giving feedback to learners, or a similar example to the one given? Yeah.
For our writing classes, we have checklists. So when students finish writing their essays, they just look at the checklist and they assess their papers. And then I get the papers and I give feedback later.
Yeah. So they're actually going through a process of self-assessment there. Excellent. That's great. Any other examples? Okay. We'll have a couple more. I think we've had all of them on the board, haven't we?
Develop learning environment.
Okay.
And so we mentioned before, and maybe we can take sitting into consideration, or in an English classes, or in we can hang some posters.
Yeah.
About the topic of the day, and we can hang some posters, and we need to make them memorize all the rules or all some grammatical and vocabulary patterns. Maybe we can stick some notes on their environment, and after each week we need to redesign the class according to the schedule, according to the pacing. So it would be a good idea to make students more engaged with the topic given.
Yeah, there's a couple of ideas there. The idea of having kind of discipline relevant materials on the wall. So people actually feel, classrooms can be very, very anonymous, in higher education. You're going into another room, last time there was a class in history and now you're in here learning fashion or engineering. Being able to kind of even modify the room slightly so that it makes you feel, right, okay, now we're in an engineering class, or now we're in a history class, bringing in artefacts and posters and things that the students produce themselves as well. That's great, thank you. Okay, who haven't we had? Let's have Wake Up, front row.
Okay. Teaching and supporting learning.
Okay.
In one of my classes, what I do is, this is a writing class though, it's media writing. What I do is give students projects in each class. It's a 4-hour class, so the first hour and a half I devote to teaching the particular subject, what they need to do, And then the following hour, I give them a project, in-class project, and then I give them feedback in class.
Yes.
So this, I hope, is
Yes, so they're actually
formative.
active in class. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, great. Thank you very much. Anybody else do something similar? So they're actually kind of doing a formative task within the classroom where they're working on their project and they get instant feedback. Anybody else using similar ideas to that? Okay, right, we'll do a couple more. Let's go down this end. We'll have you.
A5, development of personal,
Professional development, yeah.
yes, professional development. Actually, it was said, and I have no other things to add, like going to courses, reading books, taking seminars, as one here.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think when you're writing about A5 in your fellowship application, you know, it kind of underpins a lot of the other activities that you're doing, because, you know, that's giving you the knowledge about what you're doing elsewhere. So, you know, you can have it as a separate section as well as sort of thread it through the other things. Okay?
We did not talk much about A1 and A3 actually.
Right, okay. I'll see if we can spin this if we get an A3.
May I ask you a question
Yeah.
about A5 though? First?
Yes.
Because this is the first time, I've been at the school for 10 years, and this is the first time that we are given, in my experience, a training on teaching,
Yeah.
which I find very welcome,
Yeah.
because I feel that this really underlines the fact that teaching is important. But normally, we usually are not given much time to attend training courses or conferences and education, unless education is your field.
Right.
So what are we supposed to write here except for this course?
I think, yes, and you know, it is a challenge, particularly if you're looking at senior fellow, because you need to sort of demonstrate that sustainability. But I think you kind of, you know, you put the course at the heart of it, but also sort of think about, you know, any kind of other engagement that you've had, so conversations, you know, you could say that, you know, your institution has not had a long history of this type of academic development, so it's been much more organic, you know, it's been built on, you know, conversations with others, sharing practice informally, you know, that is still professional development. You know, it's taking the opportunities that are available to you. You know, you might not have spent a lot of time reading the pedagogical scholarship literature, but, you know, you're building your practice on that, and then your own kind of reflection on what worked, okay? So the sort of reflecting on your own learning is part of your professional development. Right, we'll have one more, and we're going to try and get A1. Yes, sure.
Can we say that brainstorming with colleagues
Yes.
in the kind of
Professional development, yeah. Okay, I'm going to give it to you, and you can tell us about A1, even though, wake up! Even though it's me trying to fudge the ball. Can you talk about A1?
Oh, designing and planning.
Yes.
Well, for me, the first thing I did when I first started working at Lodz University was putting in hands-on chemistry laboratories. So they used to have just lectures, and the students used to go to the lab once, and they were just watching the professor do the experiments once in a semester. And so I introduced 3 new experiments so they could perform, so we started going to the lab. So I think that's a good changing the design of the course.
Yes, yeah.
And in terms of planning the semester, we used to have a group of professors, and we decided together, teaching the same course, we decided together what to do, when to start taking the students to the labs, when to do the first exam, and blah blah. So the whole semester we used to decide together what to do, and we used to grade the exams together,
Right.
decide on the questions together.
Okay. So in terms of that, so just picking out some key pieces out of that others of you may share. It's that kind of idea of thinking how to synchronise, you know, when you do the theory and the practical, for example. you can actually even, if you're on a senior fellow level and you're kind of in charge of the faculty, how do you kind of coordinate the workloads of staff to make sure that, you know, that that's evenly balanced. You might think about how the whole curriculum fits together. So depending on your sort of sphere of impact, you know, if you're looking at fellow level, then you know you probably only have control over your one course or one module. So how do you organise all that? You might even think about speaking to your colleagues so that if you're setting a big piece of assessment, it doesn't come for students at the same time as a colleague on the same course is setting another big piece of assessment in a different area. So it's that kind of stuff can come into there. If you're sort of new to lecturing and you're not in charge of a whole module, you might think about how you plan one classroom activity. You know, you've got students for 2 hours and you know that talking to them for 2 hours is not going to be very productive. So how do you plan that 2-hour session? So you can think about your sphere of impact, okay? If you're looking at going for associate fellow category, you think, well, actually, I've only got, you know, my current teaching practice. I'm not in charge of the whole module or a whole course, but I am planning this 2-hour session to make sure there's a balance of theory, there's a balance of activity, there's a balance of you know, discussions, students get the opportunity to feed back to me. So we have all of that going on at the same time, okay? So it's your sphere of impact, okay? So if you're in charge of a whole module, if you're a course director, if you're the dean of a faculty, each of those you have a bigger sphere of influence, and you should be demonstrating that in your fellowship application. Okay, does anybody want to more examples of any of the other ones, and we'll take the randomness out of it. Somebody said about A3. Does anybody want to give us an example of A3, assessing and giving feedback to students?
About the assessment, in fact, I think during our discussion in Model 2, I talk about it, but it's a little better if we talk about it. After each midterm, I email, after I assess each midterm, I email my students about the results of the email and results of the midterm, sorry, and that email I talk about each question. And in each question I write what I have expected from them and what they have written and where they was wrong and how they can fix it. So it's a long email, but from the feedback of students I understand that they like it. In addition to email, I also make a small conversation on the class, 10 minutes or 15 minutes, making an encouragement speech, like, because there are some students who couldn't take an over 40, for example. So I say, don't leave the course. You still have time, study more, blah blah. And they like it. And I remember one of my students, when I was talking about the exam results, told his friends, and okay, you don't have a high grade, but come to this lesson. It's not over again.
That's it.
It's a nice thing.
Yeah. Excellent, that's great. And I think, sorry, yes, I'll just follow up on that and then I'll come back to you. I think that there's, you know, if students are making similar mistakes, giving that kind of whole class feedback can be very effective, and then just giving individual feedback where they need more support, you know, I mean, is incredibly valid and an important way of doing it.
Okay, I would like to give a similar example to peer feedback. As Gizem said, and when we finish the writing session, and we make the students write a draft, and after that we randomly collect the papers, and after that, according to a checklist that we create all together, according to the checklist, I generally distribute the papers randomly, and students can check each other and can, for example, I'm asking them, if you were a teacher, what scores would you give to your teachers according to the checklist table, and students students check their papers and after that give scores. And there's another example of a peer feedback.
Okay, yeah, that's great.